morning routine was really good for me. And I feel the change starting your day, feeling empowered, feeling not frazzled, feeling confident, and it helps the rest of your day going positively. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, and today we're going to talk about morning routines for people who hate morning routines. I know it seems kind of crazy to talk about something that I actually hated for a long time. And I don't want to say hate, I just felt like I wasn't good at it. I didn't really buy into the whole morning routine, just between you and me. I didn't really buy into it. I want to talk today about why it works for my personal development, for my business. It's worked really, really well for me. And I'm going to share with you how I went from being a super squirrel brained, jump into work right away, jump into all the things in life and everything first thing in the morning, to somebody who actually really enjoys a morning routine now. So listen up. I'm going to give you, first of all, the reason why I decided to actually step into the habit of doing morning routines, how I got talked into it, if you really want to know, and how I'm going to try to talk you into it. So not talk you into it, and you're thinking, well, what does this have to do with my business? And I promise you, I'm going to share. And by the end, you're going to say, I'm going to try this too. Just be open to learning new things and trying new things. The first thing is really the truth was that I was looking and seeing what was working for other people. I've always done that in my business. I always talk about, seeing what's working for other people. And all of my mentors and coaches and all of the people doing the things and, that I'm achieving and striving to be had morning routines. And I was like, what? It's like, I had tried before and failed, to be honest, tried many times. In episode number 64, the podcast is about when you see other retailers succeeding and how to take, what to take away from that, and I call it the 20%. What's 20% of the thing they're doing that I can do? And when I realized all my coaches and mentors and, what can I do that they're doing well that I can do and I can implement in my life? And regularly it was morning routines. So the funny part is that I invest heavily into coaching and business and personal development. I've always got a coach. I've always got a couple of coaches. I invest in mastermind groups. I invest in and I align with people that I trust, and I try to educate myself all the time. And last year, I had invested heavily into a coach, and he said it was Jeffrey Shaw, actually, Jeffrey Shaw, who's written several books, and I just love to death and really align with and think he's an amazing coach and business person. Wrote The Self-Employed Life, the book, and Lingo. I love them both. That's a plug for Jeff. But basically, while we were coaching, Jeff said to me, you need to, start out your morning habits. And I'm like, I don't do morning habits. I'm not into them. I can't do it. It's not a good habit for me. I just can't do it. And he bluntly told me that I get to decide my habits. And, do I want to have good habits that will help me grow my personal development, or don't I? I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, because you're investing in, he's basically said, you're investing in my advice, and this is what my advice is. And he recommends this and teaches this even in his books and all of, he believes in it. And I'll tell you why it worked. So I decided that I am investing in coaching, not just for education and more strategy and more whatever. I'm investing in trust, and I'm investing in what works, and I'm investing in education. And again, I'm a big believer in investing in my personal and business development. So I'm going to try it. So that's what I told him. I said, okay, I'll try it. So one of the things I realized, and I have realized with myself, and I have shared this strategy with a lot of my clients, and I see it happen a lot. So again, this morning habit routine is working for so many of my clients as well too, and that's why I'm sharing them with you. But one of the simplest things that I've realized that we can all do to empower ourselves, it's the simple act of choosing to be intentional about changing things. So I get to choose the habits I want, and I get to be intentional about how I start my day. And I keep telling myself that, and that's how I was able to shift my mindset. And I hope that might be a shift for you as well too. So I'm going to be honest, 100% of the time I do not do this. I try really regularly to have a morning routine, and I just do the best that I can. I give myself grace when I don't do it, and I try to just reset. So I'm just being super honest with you about that, like I always try to be, and I'm going to share what works for me. And this is how these sort of elements work really well. And I have clients that are trying it in different formats. You do you, but here's what I do. So what's working for me right now? And the first thing is I start the night before. I start my morning habit the night before. And this is ridiculously simple and ridiculous that for me, in my mind, that I don't do this all the time, 100% of the time. It takes me 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes me like 2 minutes. It's so crazy. But in my head, and I don't know if you guys do this too, but in my head, like I make it out to be like, oh, I got to go do this. But anyway, I start the night before, and this helps save my brain from thinking the next morning. And our brains are tired in the morning. Anything that we can put on autopilot, rinse and repeat, don't have to think about it. We're busy, self-employed, busy retailers. We do not need more things to think about, right? So one of the things that I do the night before is I make sure that I have my top 3 list ready for the next day. Now, I usually do this, to be honest, now I'm in the habit of doing this before I leave my desk. I'm also trying to be very intentional about when I get up and leave my desk and leave my office, that I kind of leave my work behind. It's not always possible. You all know what I mean about that. But I try to make sure that my desk is tidy when I leave, because I have to return to it, and environment really matters to me. And when it's all chaotic, it's harder for me to pay attention. And I have my top 3. Now, I've always done this, to be honest. I've coached this with my clients for years, to have their top 3 priorities, the things that have to happen tomorrow morning, tomorrow as soon as they get going to work, or whatever has to happen. These are work-related things, so that tomorrow morning when you get up, you don't have to start, or even when you're in bed, to be honest. I used to do this lying in bed. I'm like, oh, what do I got to do tomorrow? Oh, I think I'm really supposed to, got to batch my social media, and I've got meetings, and I got to do this, and I got to go to, make a deposit at the bank. All those things that we think about at night, it really helps your brain not have to do that. So I've had many clients tell me that this is a big shift for them at being able to sleep better at night, and just, again, not having to think in the morning. So your top 3 things are, I put mine on a sticky note on my planner pad, so that they're right there. I don't have to think about it when I sit down. Oh, these are the things. One of these, I have to do these 3 things. I try to put them in order, but I don't always. But anyway, those 3 things have to be done. So I do that the night before, or before I leave my desk. I make sure my desk is tidy. That matters to me, just because when I come in, it's chaotic, and I can't handle it. And again, that takes me like 2 seconds to tidy up my paper. It's crazy. The next thing I do is I make sure my coffee's on. This is, again, I don't actually do this anymore. John takes care of all of this. My husband is great. He's always like, after supper, he always preps. And so I just have to like click my coffee on in the morning. That's important. Again, don't want to go down and hassle with anything. I want things to be light and easy in the morning, my words of the year. And I also make sure that this is going to sound dorky, and please don't judge me, but I also make sure my clothes are out like a 2-year-old. Like we used to lay out our kids' clothes. Well, I've started laying out if I'm going to go for a walk or work out in the morning, for whatever reason, my brain just finds it much easier if I'm just like, oh, there's my sneakers and my socks, and I can just get ready. Or, it's not always, I don't always do that, but if I plan to get up and go out and move and get outside, I try to have that ready right there in the morning. Or if I have a big work day, like interviews or, I have to iron anything or something like that, which is very rare to be honest. But, if I have to have something special, I try to make sure that's ready the night before, just so I don't have to think. This is all designed to save brain power, and it works. I can't tell you how, and this all takes me like 5 minutes. It's so silly that I don't do it all the time, but I am in a much better habit and I do it very regularly now. So then the next thing I do first thing in the morning when I get up. Now, bear with me and listen to me on this, okay? You do you, but I'm telling you right now, I don't look at my phone first thing in the morning, and I have a confession that I used to just lean over and grab my phone. Now, I do lean over, grab my phone. Sometimes I put the radio on. I also check the clock, but I don't go on any social media anymore in the morning. Now, occasionally I will, if it's just if I'm having a lazier morning, or if I'm going to just take a few more minutes to get up. I don't have negative things on my feeds. And that sounds, again, kind of crazy, but I only have, like, a lot of people tell me that they have a lot of negativity that comes in on their social media. I don't. I actually have I've gotten rid of, unfollowed, don't pay attention to any of the negative stuff. So sometimes I will put a timer on and I will let myself sort of scroll Instagram for about 5 minutes, but that's about it. I try not to go on any social media. I try not to do anything first thing in the morning. And again, that's because Jeff told me to do that. So I was like, all right, I'll try that habit. And it really does free my brain up from getting, answering DMs and feeling obligated and all of those things. So, I'm still owning my mornings, I guess. I'm owning my mornings when I just give myself like 5 minutes and I don't answer anybody or do anything that way. And it was hard. It's hard. It's hard not to do that. I'm going to be honest. Like I always am. But, truthfully, sometimes you just want to grab your phone and scroll or whatever, but I don't anymore. So it's freeing as well, too. So I grab a coffee, and my first 15 minutes when I get up with my coffee this is, again, a completely new habit for me, but it's working and it's making such a difference. I read a book for 15 minutes. And I love business books, but I always found I was wanting to buy them. I was wanting to read them, but I was thumbing through them, and I still sometimes thumb through it, truthfully, but I have made such a conscious effort to read because all of the mentors, all of the coaches, all of the people that I admire, all of the business people that I hang out with, all of my mastermind member friends, and all of the, everybody attributes reading and education to being part of their growth, again, business and personal development. And I feel amazing when I read a business book or a book. Now, mine are usually business books. I'm going to tell you, I try to educate myself every morning. I love reading and learning. So that's when I do that. So my 15 minutes, and I say 15 minutes, I set my timer for 15 minutes because I used to have to force myself to do it for 15 minutes. And now I'm in the habit. I don't set my timer as often, but I drink it with my coffee. I kind of time it that way now. I know how long it takes me to drink a cup of coffee. And that I love that time now. I just love it. And I'm learning so much, and I'm absorbing, and I'm feeling way more empowered and sort of back to where I always wanted to be. The other thing that I've realized about this reading, this is an old saying, I'm sure you've all heard it before, but learners are earners. And I feel like the more I'm learning, the more, the better I am. I'm a better coach. I'm a better person. I'm a better wife. I'm learning all the time. And I feel like I'm leveling up all the time. So I'm sharing that. And okay, this is the one that always gets me as well, too. I had to push myself to do this, my friends. But the next thing I do is I spend about 10 minutes writing in a journal, probably less than that sometimes. And I'm not a journaler. I wanted to be a journaler for so long, but I kept saying it's just not taking. And back to, Jeff telling me that, we choose and we decide our habits. Journaling didn't do it for me, I guess, as much as it does for other people. And I tried. And I still try, but here's the thing. I just answer 2 questions now. And those 2 questions sometimes get me writing even more or whatever. But the 2 questions I answer every day: what's going right in my business? And the second one is, what would make today awesome? So the first question, I do try to keep it directly related to business. What's going right in my business? Because having a powerful, positive framework in your mind when you start the day is amazing. and what would make today awesome. And I usually like blurt out a bunch of million things that I can just write that out. Like, it would be awesome today if I got out for a walk, and it would be awesome today if I connected with so-and-so. It would be awesome today. I try to really think of what would make today awesome. Those two things, and I'm not into woo-woo and the power, all of that, but I am into the power of positive intention. And so when you put that out there and you're saying it already and you put it out to the world, things happen, right? So when I'm already stating in the beginning of the day, this is really cool and going right in my business. And also this would make a great thing. This would make a great day. I've already started with such a great positive intention. It's been so hard, right? For so many shop owners and retailers lately, there's just been a lot more dodgeballs we've been going through. So these two questions really help a lot of my clients. So I really want you to take notes. So even if you're not a journaler, let's call it journaling for non-journalers, or add it to your journal routine if you are a journaler. What's going right in my business? That comes from Jeff. He's a big believer in a what's going right journal every morning. I think he taught me, he told me I should do 10 minutes a day of writing in that. I don't always do that, and then what would make today awesome? That's mine. So that's mine. So I really, I try to do that a lot. I've spent a lot of time doing that. So I've had my coffee, I've read my book, I've got a few words written down in this quick journal. And my journal is a scribbler, a scribbler. Do we still say scribblers? It's a notebook. And then the third thing I do is the toughie. The toughie. This one I fought for a long time, and it has been really, really impactful. And I had 2 or 3 clients just in the last couple of weeks tell me that they are doing this as well too, and that it has been good for them. And again, be open to this. Some people call it meditating. I call it sitting still for 10 minutes, because Wendy's brain does not meditate. And I gave myself permission not to try to meditate, because meditation, I felt like that Julia Roberts movie where she's like thinking of all the things. But sitting still with intention of not doing anything else is so good for your creative brain, for your business brain. It's called white space. And I've been doing it, and it's been good. I actually set the timer because there's no way I could just pay attention. And I will, I think of everything. Sometimes I think of nothing, and I sit still for 10 minutes. And I had a coach one time tell me, I was in a group session one time, and I'm trying to think of his name now. Bob Hurling. Anyway, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Jim Hurling, I think. Anyway, he said, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. And I kind of felt like I didn't have 10 minutes. And I think some of you listening might feel that. So I was like, I have a life, and I have I still want to have a healthy business and a healthy life. So I tried it, and I've been open to doing it. And you know what? It's cool. It's kind of a fun thing to do. And it has been so life-changing. Life-changing sounds dramatic, but it's been so good for business. And again, my clients, I have retailers all over the place telling me that this works really well for them. So it's kind of crazy. And this is like morning routines for non-morning people, but be open to changing your habits and being intentional about it. So the 3 things I did, again, I start the night before. I make a list of my top 3. I make sure my coffee is on and ready. And my clothes and anything that I need to kind of get ready in the morning is done. Again, this is all geared up so it can save my brain from making any decisions. Our brains are fatigued enough. So this is all kind of like autopilot, right? Rinse and repeat. Then the next thing I do is I get up in the morning. I try not to go on my phone. I set my timer for about 5 minutes. If I do go on my phone, I grab my coffee, I grab my book. I have a comfy chair I read in every morning, 15 minutes of inputting and reading. And again, I'm not a journaler. So that all happens really quickly. Then I sit still for 10 minutes, and it sounds like this is all like forced. It's not. It kind of happens all kind of cool. I just set my book down, set my journal down. I just sit for 10 minutes. So it's about a half an hour that I'm, enjoying my coffee. I've had a relaxing morning. I don't feel stressed. Usually I start my mornings on a squirrel brain moment. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but usually I start my morning all like, okay, these are the things I got to do, and this is all the stuff I got to do, and I got all these things on my brain, and this has been so change empowering for me. The last thing that I do is I try to move my body and educate myself. So that sounds, again, kind of silly, but the last part of this whole plan is moving my body, because Our bodies need to be moved. My body needs to move. And I try to go for a walk every day. And I either listen to a podcast or I listen to a course that I'm working on. And this was something that I had been putting aside and not been working on a lot. I've been sort of, courses that I'm signed up for or things that I wanted to learn or podcasts that I wanted to listen to. I was kind of putting them off because I didn't have a place in my day or my time as much, mostly since my studio sold. And I used to do that in the studio all the time. And so I was kind of finding it weird, like not having a time to do that. So I don't have a commute anymore, and that's kind of weird. So I walk every day. I try to, and move my body because it's good for my brain and my body. And I try to listen to my podcast then. If I don't walk because it's weather or whatever, I actually make sure that I spend about half an hour a day when I normally would be walking on education. So sometimes I alternate between walking and sometimes I alternate with, like, today I'm going to work on my courses. And what I mean by that is I know, again, that personal and business development is important. And I know that I need to take time to learn. And I always used to really be conscious of that, super conscious of it. And I kind of got away from it. And if you're feeling like, we always are learning, we're always evolving, we're always leveling up our business. So there's always something new, that, not necessarily new, but there's always something that we want to input. I call it input. That's books and podcasts and everything that's coming in and learning. If nothing stays the same, right? So what got us here won't get us there. So we do always need to be evolving. So that's when I spend my time doing that. And I has been pivotal again. I got to stop using that word, my friends. It has been very, very big for me as well too. And this is all, again, first thing in the morning. I try to do this all early in the morning before, my business day starts. And it's so empowering. I have had a client. It's funny. I had a client, she has 2 shops. She's a mom of 3 boys, I want to say they're all under 10, they're like little rugrats, right? They're like three busy boys. And she has told me that, she has implemented all of these things. She's been a client of mine for a long time. And she said, she did not want to. She I don't want to. I can't do it. And I gave her the same spiel that Jeff gave me. We get to choose our habits. And we worked at it together with accountability wise as far as, she would send me a text and she'd say, I did it. I did my 10 minutes of quiet time. And again, she's really busy. She's doing a lot of things. And it has been so powerful for her to change in the way she starts her day. So she gets up a little bit earlier before her boys do. She has her coffee. She kind of has a similar routine to me without the walk. She does a treadmill. And, it's really empowering when you give your mind space because it's the muscle, it's the thing that we don't always take care of. And we have been under a constant state of busyness for the last 100 years. No, the last couple of years have just been so... we're thinking more than we've ever had to as business owners. We're thinking all the time and we're preparing. There's been amazing things I know happen. Like Karen's had this, a great couple of years, but a very hard thinking about, just like all of us have, thinking about dodging and changing and pivoting and all the things that we've all been doing. And, one of my retailers, Kirsten, told me that morning routine was really good for her. I just keep getting all the feedback. So I wanted to share it with you. And it's, again, been good for me. And I see and I feel the change, starting your day feeling empowered, feeling not frazzled, feeling educated, feeling confident, and being super intentional about the way it helps the rest of your day going positively. So I hope that this has been helpful to somebody out there. So I'm laughing because I wanted to call this, I told my team, I'm like, we're going to call this the morning routine for squirrel brains, or the morning routine for the yeah buts, I can't do it, or the morning, I don't know. So thank you for listening through to the podcast. I would love to know if you have a morning routine, what it involves. Like, some people get up and go for a run first thing in the morning. What is your morning routine? And if you have one, or if you have tried and maybe failed in the past, if you'd be willing to try again. I feel like I wanted to make a morning routine challenge around this or something, but let me know inside our free group, the Rockstar Retailers group. If you're not a member, please join us. Feel free to join us. We'll have the link in the show notes. And again, on Facebook, it's just called Rockstar Retailers, and it's my free group. I'd love to continue the conversation with you about that, or leave a comment in the show notes. We love, love, love. I love, love, love. So does my team, but I super, super love when you leave comments in the and reviews inside the Apple review. It helps us so much. It helps other retailers find us as well too. So thank you so much. I hope you found the morning routines helpful. I'd love to know what your results were from doing it. And again, I want to remind you that we decide our habits, and the simplest act is choosing to be intentional about how we start our day and how we proceed through the day. And with all of the things that we have not had a choice about lately, this is something that I hope will be helpful to you in, making your day easier, making it, lighter. And again, if you haven't, I've been sharing that my word and theme of the year is make it light and easy for my members, for my, retailers, for myself, make it for my family, make it light and easy. So hopefully this helps your day, making it light and easy. And hopefully you've taken that away. So let me know. And I hope to see you inside my group, inside the Rockstar Retailers group. And I hope to talk to you next week. We have another great podcast coming for you. Thanks for listening, my friends. Have a fantastic week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you're here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.